In a few days to come, new leaders will emerge that will run the state of affairs of our nation. Citizens collectively are expected to mobilize themselves as monitoring teams who in turn participate in the country's democratic processes as election observers to the February 25th general elections. Of course, we also have some international observers. Observers are drawn from non-partisan groups such as civil society organizations that help ensure electoral integrity and strengthen capacity to promote citizen participation, engage in policy advocacy, and foster governmental accountability in the process. However, how do election observers identify an electoral process marred with irregularities? Are they well positioned to evaluate wider aspects of the election process? These and more questions will be our focus on the program today. I am Eucharia Clinton. Welcome to Nigeria Today. Joining me to discuss the role of election observers is Dr. Hassan Sadiq, an election observer and a security strategic expert. Thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's just start off, immediately. We hear election observers, international election observers. What is their role?
Yes, thank you. As you heard, election observer are an organizations, NGO, non-governmental, they are non-partisans, who feel they have a lot to offer, to contribute in democratic process of their countries. Now, you have domestic, you have international. But coming back here in domestics, I belong to NGO called the Grassroots Mobilizations Initiative for Empowerment. The process you wrote to the INEC, submitting the credential of your members who wishes to participate in the observing the elections. On that process, the INEC will do due diligence and issue an ID card and the name that will be given the particular local government and the state. Now, the objective is to giving the voters confidence, to raise the confidence in terms of voting process, for them to feel that the elections will be counted, and also to advise the INEC in the general conduct of the elections, which will now help the INEC to improve the credibility of the elections. But the essence is to help the citizens to raise the credibility of the elections, to make them to believe that their vote count, because they are a third party who witness. Apart from the INEC, and you have security agency, and you now have the observer.
Okay, now you talked about the observers, the role. I know we have foreign observers, we have the domestic observers.
Yes.
What exactly are the requirements needed for you to become an observer?
Yes, for you to become an observer, your NGO will write to the INEC. They have their portal. You submit the name of your membership that wishes to take part in observing the elections. Then INEC, there are processes they will go through, because we want people of credibility, people that has what it takes to observe. And also, INEC does not pay. It is a free services that you want to offer. So after that, the INEC will now come and give you the ID card of those your membership. You give it to them, and that's a number that this is qualify you. That now allows you, during the elections day, you move around, you observe. Also, there's obligations. We have limitations. You don't interfere in the process, but you only watch and observe. And later, you submit a report to the INEC. What you have observed, area you feel they should be improved, both on the security, the voters, the INEC officials.
Okay, so in other words, you are not expected to vote, even
no. If you can vote, when you vote in your polling unit, you can now start your national assignment. That does not mean you cannot vote. For example, I'm going to vote on that particular day, but first thing in the morning, I get ready. As soon as my polling unit in my locations is get ready, I will now vote. As soon as I vote, I can now start observer exercise. So that does not mean you cannot vote. as a domestic observer. It's only the international observer that who cannot vote.
Of course,
because they are foreign.
They are for foreign.
Yes.
Now, can this rule be compromised?
Well, if you said compromise, in what sense? Because you don't take part. You only to watch and observe the process, and later you feel there are an area that needed to be improved upon. Then what time did the material arrive at a particular polling unit? You are at that particular time, especially the sensitive material. You take note of all this that will now guide, so that the INEC will now look at it. Okay, logistics matter. Then because of one thing or the other, how will they now plan the next elections to make sure all the hiccup will be able to overcome?
Yeah, I understand that
Yes.
you had a meeting with the INEC chairman, and there were a lot of things that were discussed. Can you just give us a little bit of what and what?
Yes, what he said was that he appreciates the people, the NGO who are taking part in this national assignment, as well as we have a guideline, the process we need to follow, and our limitations, because you are not allowed to take part. You are not to take part in the process, but you are allowed to observe.
Okay.
This is the limit.
Now, you're allowed to observe.
Yes.
So far.
Yes.
What have you observed in regards to the preparedness
Yes.
of INEC?
So far, so good. I think INEC is ready. Yes, because we are now to look at the beaver. How does it work? At what time? Is there any failure? These are things we observe. That's why I said in first places, what time did the INEC official arrive at a particular polling unit? When did the material arrived? Then after that, what is the conduct, the behavior of the INEC official vis-a-vis the voters and the security agent? So these are what we now observe. Then in that process, if we feel that security has overdue, or the INEC did not do certain things properly, or the voters, then we put it in writing. They will now submit it. This will now help the policy, how the INEC will say, okay, because it's going to be a continuous process. They have to continue improving in the process of conducting elections.
Apart from being an observer, you're also a security strategic expert. So what would you tell us about the security, how prepared the security personnel are, and what you have seen, and what you think should be done more to ensure that we have peaceful?
Yes, when we now take it to the issue of security, is bordering on defense security. In the sense, we are talking of protections of life and property. But so far, the security agency, they synergize within the army, the police, the navy, the air force, even customs. Some of them are going to be deployed into it. Now, I can say authoritatively that they have done their bit. They've given the confidence that the public, you should not have any fear of molestations. You should come out and vote freely of your own party or your choice. They have done the best. But we'll be able to see at that particular day whether issue of thuggery and all that, and how security is going to manage it. But so far today, I can say that yes, they have put everything in place, because over about 4,000 policemen have been deployed. Because in any elections, police is the frontier. They are the leading. So IG has come out clearly saying about 4,000 police, over 4,000 has been deployed to monitor these elections for security. Army are also there. But in most cases, army are on patrol. But police will be within the confines of the polling unit where they will be. Then also, you will now see that the police will now watch who are coming to vote and how do you vote, and you left. So where the agent of each political party will be there, because these are the things we observe, where they needed to sign to make sure they are being called by each party, making sure they are present before the INEC will start anything, and when they close, and all that. These are what we are now going to observe, because the INEC official will be the one conducting the exercise, while the observer are the one now going to be observing all these processes, where there will be delay, how to improve, and where the elections is smooth and need to be improved upon.
Okay, I know that after the meeting, I know you had some interaction with some of the foreign observers.
Yes.
Now, what feeler have you been getting from them as regards the, their overall assessment of INEC and the entire preparation and everything, just talking about the election process generally, what have you been saying?
Mostly, Nigerians, we still have that. We are one of the giants of Africa. There's no doubt about it. Most of the foreign observers, even from other countries, from our head of state, they are in town today, which some of them have started arriving, is to see the process and be able to be proud of Nigerian leading in terms of democratic process, whereby they now copy certain things that we did it very well. Then they'll be able to replicate it in their own side of the country. AU, all this, they have representative. UNDP, they have representative. All these are still part of foreign observers. The essence is to monitor, to see how Nigerian has been able to conduct vis-a-vis the INEC, the machinery, everything they put in place, the security apparatus, then so that they will be able to learn out of it and where needed to be observed. So it's the same thing in other countries in West Africa and sub-region. When they are having their own elections, Nigerians envoy also go there to observe their elections. In fact, I remember the immediate past head of state, which is President General Goodluck, was also in one of the Africa countries where he went there and he now observed. When he came, he's even trying to say that, look, there's area that we needed to improve upon, whereby issue of vote buying, it should not be allowed, how to boycott it, how to stop that. So these are the essence of observing each other's elections, is to improve on what is being done very well and to get away what is not done properly. Then you can now bring it back home. Yes, this is the essence of why the foreign observer too are here, is to share ideas in between that this area can be improved upon, because Nigeria is a golden child that most of the Africa countries look upon, because we are leading. Forget about even our issue of current reality and challenges, because the advantage is enormous. So they still look at us. We have the highest populations. Imagine when you are conducting an elections where you have a strong candidate today that are well known globally and are contesting in these general elections, then the populations of the people, you cannot get it in any of the Africa country. So this is why we are big. The elections is big.
I know before the program you told me how much you've also traveled out to observe other elections. After the break, you tell us what and what we can emulate from others. Even though we know we are the giant of Africa, we also have some other things to pick from these other countries and make our own democratic process better. So time for break to listen to what other election observers have to say in this Vox Pop as put together by Suleiman Abdul Wahab. Don't go away.
Any observer that is caught with any political party during this 2023 election, his accreditation letter should be withdrawn.
There are some reports that actually need to be reported instantly. I mean, there are other reports that you need to take your time to write them and report back to INEC. And there are reports that are very worrisome that INEC needs to know about a particular polling unit can be reported instantly.
One of the principles is to comply with security advisory, and one is to comply with the culture of the community or state that will be observing the election, and then one is also to confirm with traffic rules, so we don't go out breaking the rules of traffic, and then also to provide and project public confidence in elections. And then she also identify the strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats in our own reports to help the commission in further next elections.
Yes, if I am in Abuja Municipal Area Council, I'm going to observe from one polling unit to another within the Abuja Municipal Area Council. So that's how we're going to do it.
Welcome back. We are watching Nigeria Today and we are discussing the role of election observers. My guests is still Dr. Hassan Sadiq. So you heard what some other election observers have to say there. What are your thoughts on some of the things they said?
Yes. First of all, I think let me say this. INEC has have 146,913 observers. Why about 144 groups produces these numbers? To tell you how much the number that the observers are today. Yes, as rightly some of them has mentioned, there's elections of security that observers need to observe the conduct, the manner of the security in the process of elections and collations. In fact, sometimes when they, after collations in the previous, we follow them to the collation center. Then from there down to before the announcement and situations room of INEC. So we now observe and follow the rules and regulations. As I've said, you are not to take part in the elections or discussions with the agent. No, that is not your business. Your business is to observe and put everything down. Then while later, you can now put up your report and send it to INEC. Vis-a-vis the area you have observed, what you have seen, and what needed to be improved upon, and where they have done well. Most especially, there are areas where today they complain about late arrival of material. Now, which in most cases, it delayed the elections. These are very important, that it is we are now going to get the report to the INEC that in these particular locations, this particular state, there are delay in terms of material. The voters has been on the queue, has been waiting. So then they will now look at it. What is the cost? Is it the logistics? Then they can now plan to make sure such things will not happen again. All these processes, what it does, it helps in the credibility of the elections, and INEC will take the glory.
Okay, now you just, of course, just caught me there when I wanted to ask you the use of this report, because everybody keeps talking about compiling reports.
Yes.
The people the observers that spoke shortly just now, they talked about compiling report, and even the foreign observer, they compile report. I was wondering, apart from what you've mentioned, what use are these reports to our democratic process so far? You told me that this would be the 8th time you're observing internal elections.
Yes.
So, and you also go out to observe. So far, the reports you have presented, what has it been used for?
Yes. Sometimes at the level of policy making, you are to advise, but you might not have the privilege to implement them. But it is good for you to observe. For a simple example, I've advised the INEC in the past through the process of my observing that, look, it is not only when we are getting to general elections that INEC should start registering people who are now up to the ages that can vote. It's a continuous process. That is one. It is through the manner we have observed before that today your PVC can be transferred to another state. Yes, if, for example, you stay in Abuja and you decided to travel to Benue, Kogi, other states, and you want to vote there, then before then, your BVA can now be transferred to that state. These are some of the reports that in the past we don't have it, that today you have it. So you can see it is giving improve on the electoral processes. Time is going to come again. You can say, okay, do you need to really come out? Can't you stay to your smartphone? You vote. It's a process. Then time is coming again. Must you have a particular polling unit to vote? Just like you have your ATM, where in any ATM machine, whether it is your bank or not, you can go there, slot in your ATM, and you withdraw money. Then we are now looking at that level because we're in the age of technology.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes. So these are part of things we advise the INEC, that the window are there, the technology is there. Just like the beavers we have today. Before there was no beaver, but today we are having the beaver. It is as a result of how we have been able to observe the elections, see the loophole, then so that it gives the citizens the hope and the confidence that the elections is true transparent. Because there are some cases where I've said once the particular politicians lost the elections, it results to hate speech simply because it does not believe in that conduct of elections. But really, the result being announced, it is true and fair of that result. But because of the process, he never understand. Then he look at it, it has been compromised. So election observer, it is key. The report will now help the INEC that as we move on democratically, then we should improve on the process. In fact, for several times I've written a report that we should spend money on process than results. Because in the past, most of our politicians, what they want is announce my name as the winner. While I've said no, invest more in the process. And Beaver has now taken that again, which means we are gradually investing in the process, because it is the process that will now produce the results. At that time, once you have the confidence in the process, you have the confidence in the results and the outcome of the elections.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we went on break, I asked that you go out of the country, just like you rightly told me, that you go outside the country to observe elections.
Yes.
Of course, I agree Nigeria is a giant of Africa, but there are things you have observed in other countries, in other small African countries, that you think we should emulate.
Yes.
So what are some of these things that you've seen that you think we need to replicate here that will be,
Yeah, there are parts of observed in Ghana. We have seen that there are processes sometimes you don't put a candidate picture in a souvenir because it looks like it's a vote buying, which we have observed. That why do you need to put a candidate in terms of here you are giving someone a bag of rice and you are putting the picture of a candidate. You are indirectly inducing the voters. So which with time in our law, such things we are looking at, we should also implement it, whereby don't give any voters anything with your picture with intentions that is vote buying. So these are the things we have observed in some other country where they don't do that. Two, we have also observed that during the campaign, they dwell more on issue base. Issue based in the sense that don't look at what is the person is going to offer when he wins the elections, not issue about who he is. But why here we try to look at the candidate who he is than to look at what are you bringing to the table, because a child today might be a man tomorrow. So don't look at that. Look at what is coming to offer. Yes.
Okay, so you observe that in Ghana?
You observe that. Yes.
Wow. So, wow. So generally, what would be your closing remark?
I think generally my closing remark on this general elections, the elections is going to be free and fair on the basis of preparedness of INEC and the security. Those who go out permutating elections will be mixed or violent and all that, I didn't see. And sometimes I keep on saying, in an elections like this, for a simple example, most of our schools today are closing down. I say, no, it is wrong. To me, it borders on national security, because you cannot, it is security agents who will tell you there are insecurity. On this basis of these elections, the school should close down. But authorities should not just wake up and believe that because we are getting into general elections, the school should close down. You are now having it in the minds of our children to grow that our elections is mixed with misfeeling. I don't agree to that. But so far, with the preparedness of INEC and the police and other security agencies, we are going to have a free and fair elections.
Thank you very much. And that's it on Nigeria Today. Our thanks go to our guest, Dr. Hassan Sadiq, an election observer and a security strategic expert. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's it. Thank you very much, our viewer, for always being there. Don't forget, Nigeria Today airs weekday at 7:30 p.m. on NTA News 24. You can watch this and other episodes on www.youtube.com/NTA News 24 Hub. Once again, thank you for watching. I am Eucharia Clinton saying bye for now.
for.